Welcome to the Polar Homestead. We learn finance, permaculture, and prepping, a modern view of the world. Don't forget, freedom is in your hands. Stay safe and vigilant, friends. And now your host, Ralph KK. Launch in 3, 2, 1. Let's go.
My fellow humans, welcome to the apocalypse. This is me, your host, Ralph KK, and this is the podcast. So we are literally here. It is autumn. It is cold outside. It is rainy outside. The leaves, they are turning red. So pretty much everywhere you go, you can see the red forest with the red foliage, and there is many or a lot of autumn vibes. If you are into Halloween and that sort of stuff, it is soon to come. We are something like 4 days away, I think. Actually, it's 29 today, so we are 2 or 3 days away from the Halloween festivities. And if you're superstitious or not, supposedly from ancient times, people believed that the veil of reality would become thinner, specifically around this date, the 1st of November. So many cultures across the world, across centuries, across millennia, they all had the same belief that during this date, the veil of reality would become thinner, and therefore humans would be able to see more than what they usually see. So, for example, humans could see either spirits or creatures from another place, from the other side, from another dimension, from an alternative reality. And what it is really funny, really interesting, and really conspiratorial, it is that all these many people from many cultures, from many places, across centuries and millennia, they all had the same belief that on this date you could see the other side, that you can communicate with the spirits, that you could talk to them, that you could see them, that they could perhaps leave you messages. Anyhow, fear not. If you do not have any supernatural abilities, you do not need to go far away to see some strange things happening in the world. Perhaps we are in the middle of apocalypse or in pre-apocalyptic times. If you've been following the news, like around 2 days ago, the Nord Stream pipelines, they were sabotaged under the water. So Nord Stream 1, Nord Stream 2, they were sabotaged. They have a big hole in the pipes, and all the seawater went inside and all the gas came outside. And as it stands today, these two pipelines, they are unsalvageable. And as it stands today, these two pipelines, they are unsavable. So these pipelines, they are finished. I mean, all the seawater, it came inside the pipelines, so they are filled with seawater, and all the salt in the seawater and the minerals and stuff, it's going to basically corrode the metal. So these two pipelines, they are full and they are done. I mean, it took Russia like more than 10 years, 20 years, something like 20 years to build the Nord Stream 2. And it is funny that some people, they say, oh no, they will fix it in a couple of days, couple of weeks at maximum. But yeah bro, it ain't happening. If the big if they were to be fixed, it would take minimum 1 year. If they were to be fixed, and under optimal conditions, it would take something like 1 year for them to be fixed. So I don't know, like, people are just delusional. We are facing mass hysteria. I don't know, but people saying that this can be fixed in a couple of days. I mean, maybe it's some kind of coping mechanism for the upcoming winter, because without this gas, pretty much it's going to be a very tough life in Europe. There will be a minimal amount of gas, but it's going to be immensely expensive. Only the very rich, the 1%, will be able to get this gas. And then the rest, the 99%, the peasants, will be fighting on the streets for the scraps left over by the rich. If you've been listening to this podcast for a couple of months already, you would already know what I'm going to say. Get your pasta, get your potatoes, and prepare for the apocalypse, because it is here. I mean, as a fellow European, where do we go from here? The British pound is collapsing, the euro is collapsing, the British economy is completely collapsing, the German economy is completely collapsing. What do we do? Where do we go from here? Nobody seems to have an answer, but the people, they are fighting back, or so they say. If you've also been following the news the last couple of days, a new ultra-far-right government has been elected in Italy. Or so the mainstream media, they want you to believe that this woman that was elected in Italy, they say that she's worse than Mussolini. Can you believe this? I just hear this and I'm like, what? Are you kidding me? So check this out. She's a housewife, she's a mother, she's Christian, she's against immigration, against illegal immigration. So like against all those people coming from Africa in boats, trying to cross on boats from Africa to Europe. She's against this. She's against the massive woke indoctrination happening in Europe, in the world, in the USA. She's against consumerism, against capitalism. She's pro rights of people, pro socialist initiatives to help the people. I mean, and the mainstream media, they want to categorize her as something as bad as Mussolini, as something that is radical and against democracy. I mean, can you believe this? This is kind of funny. We are already in October, so there is something like 2 months left until winter starts. And today, what do we see in Europe? We see groups of people already gathering and protesting. And check this out. What is very funny, very suspicious, very interesting is that for the last couple 2 or 3 weeks there has been huge protests and demonstrations, which you will not see any information about this in mainstream media. So there is people protesting in Germany against the government of Scholz and against his policies, against the government. And can you guess what they were asking for, what they were demanding? They were demanding for all sanctions to be lifted and for the opening of this pipeline, the Nord Stream 2. So the people were demanding for the government to stop all this nonsense and to open the pipeline and to get all this cheap gas for the German economy to continue with their 100 times leverage of energetic input versus economic output. And ideally everybody would be happy and evolve into superior beings and an incredible utopia or something like this. Anyways, so it is very funny, very interesting, very suspicious that people were already protesting and they were demanding for the pipeline to be open, and then suddenly today, 2 or 3 weeks later after the protest, which are happening daily, so after the protest started, suddenly, suspiciously, the pipeline is sabotaged and completely destroyed. So then opening the pipeline, it is not an option anymore. And now it doesn't matter how much the people protest and try to pressure the government, the pipeline will not be opened, the situation will not be fixed. Nobody will be getting that cheap gas anymore. But regardless if the pipeline is still there or not, regardless of this, the people will keep protesting, and the current governments, they will be taken out of power, and new people will be elected. And what is going to happen is that we will have populist movements again. I mean, these kind of things, they go in cycles through history. And what's next to come is that maybe some extreme populist movement will be elected to deal with the current situation. Because where we are right now, it is that the rich, they live a very comfortable life and they just keep overworking the peasants till the last drop. Therefore, there is so much social inequality that the peasants are getting very angry. And then it is time for the peasants to rise and to change the government to populist movements so that everybody gets their equal share. So this is what we are going to start seeing in Europe. In Europe and in the rest of the world, most likely. And you know, if World War III happened or started right now, like many, I mean, the top governments, they have like such crazy weapons that I am not sure like civilization will survive or not. It just depends how crazy it gets. So check this out. China has like some very crazy weapons, which will be used in the next big World War III, you know. So for example, I was watching online yesterday. There is a video of a swarm of drones that the Chinese created, and the Chinese military, they have it. So it is a swarm of drones. They act collectively and they behave like insects. So like a swarm of bees, like a swarm of locusts. So they are very cheap to make. Their artificial intelligence is very advanced. So the drones, they don't behave like one individual. They behave like a swarm. So 100 drones, they think collectively, and they move in sync together. So what can you do with these drones? So in a war, in the battlefield, you can attach an explosive charge to each one of them, and you can send them out into the battlefield to destroy key infrastructure, key targets, or people in itself. Like some, for example, you can set it out to chase like a one person, like some very important person. You send 100 of these drones to find one person, and they explode at the same time, and nobody would survive. Or you send these drones to destroy like a building, or like a command center, or like a ship in the sea. So the uses for this, it's infinite, it's endless. How would you deploy them? You can deploy them from the ship. I mean, you can deploy them from the sea, from ships in the sea, from military vehicles near the war zone, and also you could deploy them from space. So there are many countries out there who have like these very crazy weapons, and a lot of these weapons, they are not known to the public, or even they are not known to other adversary countries. So the next world war, it is going to be amazingly crazy, destructive, and dangerous. I mean, ideally nothing would happen. Human civilization would keep on growing, evolving, getting better, and keep on going for a couple more 100 years, thousands of years, I don't know. But today, the threat of nuclear annihilation, it is. So if for some reason humanity manages to survive a couple more decades into the future, just for some reason, because how things look like today, everything looks very bleak, and perhaps we might not make it. But anyways, in case we might survive a couple more decades, then we might have some kind of interesting future. And today I will give you some homework. There is a video game called Detroit Become Human. Probably you're not going to play it, but you can watch it on YouTube online, the gameplay. It is mostly some kind of storytelling game, kind of. I mean, you mostly watch the story and you play like a little bit. So anyways, in this world, in the future, this is approximately an accurate perception of how the future might look like. So in probably 20-30 years, around 30 years, the future will look like this. So the homework for you is just to watch some videos and to see this video game, Detroit Become Human. So you just watch the gameplay on YouTube. And this is extremely accurate on how the world would look like in possibly 30 years. If we don't destroy everything and we don't blow ourselves up. And the next topic for the next podcast will be related to this. I mean, for you to understand it, you see how the future might look like, and then you will have a better understanding. So this is your homework, and then next podcast we will have a very interesting conversation. And I'll see you soon in the apocalypse.
Where do we go? Wasn't there someplace near the road? The sky starts to crack, the heavens unfurl. We tremble unsure, but now so to the bone. Drink from this wine, drop your gun and you'll be found in the dry
The